Alright, so I just wanted to put this out there. I researched, what do you call it? Hold on one second, look at this. I got my Mexican sombrero hat on. It's fucking hot outside. I was working on the deck. But anyways, I went and I was watching a forum. Someone had wrote that they wanted to do a power steering delete, just wanted to see how quick they would get, on the quarter mile. Apparently he picked up like 2 miles an hour in the eighth of the quarter, or eighth mile, and then in the quarter, I forgot what he said. But anyways, regardless of all of that, it's a power steering delete. The only thing when you do this, guys, you need to depower the rack. I took off my power steering when I had the KA, and I didn't depower the rack. So when you're turning, you would feel like bumping, and that's because the seals were creating pressure between the two sides, and it would bump, and it'd be a lot more stiffer to drive, and so forth, yada yada yada. So a couple of my videos before I went and I depowered the rack, that was basically disassembling the rack, putting in slips, taking out the seals, putting in grease, the whole nine, yada yada yada. So now basically, so I was reading this forum that I was saying with the guy doing this, and he said that the overall belt length on the stock serpentine belt for the, let's see what it is, for the alternator, power steering, idler pulley, crank, and tensioner, he said it was 46 inches, and then he said he bought like a 40-inch belt to basically run it like this. So he didn't put no model numbers or anything, but being that I know just from experience with the motors, the belts, and numbers with what's that place called, AutoZone, like the 40, it should be 40. Like, let's say if this was a 40.5 inch belt I needed, it would have been 405. The K stands for V, which I don't know. I would think I would have went for V, but it stands for I guess the V grooves, and then the 6 is 6 grooves or whatnot. So since I knew that, I went online too, and I confirmed that the belt for a stock VQ is a 46.5 K6. And so I'm like, all right. So he said he went and uses a 40-inch belt. So, and then I looked up 400 K6, picked it up, a little cheap $10 belt, and then this is what you get. So now it's nice and tight. What I'm gonna do now, because you see this is where the adapter was for the, or not the adapter, but the bracket to mount the power steering is, and it's running way close. So I will go to what's that place called? Not Advance, damn it. Oh, Ace Hardware, because they're freaking awesome for metric bolts. And then actually we got the other store, Tractor Supply. That's another place that if you guys have that, they're pretty good, because then they charge by the pound for the bolts. But anyhow, yeah, because if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, they'll freaking rape you for these metric bolts. So anyhow, with that being said, I'm gonna get smaller bolts for there. This is where the alternator was for there, and that's because let me see, I think that locks in. Yeah, that will lock in that right there. So I want to make sure I put those bolts back, but that's that's basically it. So I'm done with the pulley. That was fucking simple as shit, because I know a lot of times, like for the single overhead cam, with the KA, to do it with the tensioner, you need to put or get a single overhead cam, thermostat housing, then the power steering from pulley from that, and like all this other craziness. Or you could do what I did, was just get one belt that runs from the crank to the water pump. The water pump's like up here, and then you just kind of force it on, like you put it on and then you rotate the crank, and then the belt will catch on. That's what I did. That's what other people have done, and it worked fine, no issues. But that's just if you're removing the power steering. How I feel about that, I don't like the power steering for the fact that it robs you know, power, and it's not like it robs a lot, you know. I mean, it's a little bit more drag on the motor, so you know your RPMs and whatnot are kind of what do you call it, affected. But for drivability and for daily driver, I would definitely recommend keeping it. I opted to take mine out. Well, actually, I didn't opt out. I took mine out because when I ran that other manifold, it came and you know, that number one runner came all the way down, and it interfered with the power steering. So anyway, so I removed that, and then also my rack was leaking too, and I didn't feel like buying a new rack, and you know, now I'm here with the Q, and that's what's up. So what I'm also gonna do, I'm probably, like when I was talking about these bolts, I mean these coolant lines, I'm just gonna weld it shut and then just put a cap over for good measure. And that's simply just gonna be because, let's say later down the road I need something, whatever, I don't want to, like, let's say weld it shut here, I mean cut it off here and then weld it shut. I want to, you know, have, what if I need it later down in the future. So that's what I'm planning on doing for all of these, you know, like this one and then, you know, that one. Yeah, so it's a little overkill, because even too, the other thing, like with these, I think this might thread out. If that is, I might just cap, you know, put a post cap. I gotta play with that and see. If not, then maybe I could pull it out, thread it, and then put a 1/8, you know, plug on there. But yeah, so that's basically what's happening right now with the motor in terms. So power. So my belts, like I said, resolved. Now to look at you know, these coolant lines, and then the what do you call it, emissions, my vacuum lines, because I want to make sure I don't have any air, boosted air going into my valve cover. And so, and then that's where I'm gonna, you know, take out these PCV and then see if I can find an AN fitting or some type of fitting, so and then I could just run those to atmospheric to a catch can like how we all do. But besides that, yeah man, it's coming along. But alright, late.